Sam from Road Trail Run here in Park City, Utah. We're going to give you a roundup on some winter rough weather, wet weather, snow weather shoes. So we have 5 shoes here to show you today that we tested here, and some of them also in Boulder, Colorado. First up, we got the Sportiva Oregon Gtx. This is the rough condition shoe of the bunch. Roughest conditions. It has a Gore-Tex booty and a stretch knit upper, so it keeps the snow out. It has a very comfortable forward flex, probably the most flexible of the group, so it climbs really well. Next up, we have the brand new Hoka 11 One Speedgoat Mid WP, or waterproof. It has a booty construction with Hoka's new Sky Shell upper. The booty is very pliable, the upper is very pliable, and what we really like about this shoe is the cuff. It's quite rigid, it doesn't get in the way of running, but it provides tremendous support and also protection from those inevitable kicks from crampons, snowshoes, and on the snow. Next up, we have Salomon Speedcross 5. It's their best-selling shoe worldwide, and they've gone much more aggressive with this version. It's the only shoe here that does not have a waterproof upper, but it does have extensive vacuum molded overlays and a very nice, soft, dense upper. So it has a pretty good water protection. Actually, we took it out on the coldest day of our test at about 0 degrees Fahrenheit, and our feet were just fine. It has very aggressive traction, and we'll get to that. Next up is Altra's Lone Peak 4 RSM. It has an event laminated upper. That means that instead of a booty, the waterproof membrane is laminated right to the upper. It has, of course, Altra's foot-shaped toe box, and actually a bit more structure and foothold than the regular Lone Peak. Found the upper a little stiff, but very supportive. Finally, we have Topo's brand new Hydroventure 2. It also has an event upper, and it's more pliable. You can see the overlays are laminated on instead of stitched, as in the Lone Peak. It turns out it's also the lightest shoe here, and it's very comfortable, very secure. It has an anatomical toe box. Next, let's talk about this, how they performed in terms of comfort in cold weather. We didn't do much wet weather. They all performed quite well, and were comfortable. There's no question that a waterproof, breathable upper does provide extra comfort in winter, and of course some water protection. The Topo and the Lone Peak from Altra both have gaiter attachments front and back, which is handy because they're low cut. Now, let's look at the outsoles. First up, the Topo. Topo has a Mega Grip Vibram Mega Grip outsole. It has the broadest kind of contact of any of the outsoles, except maybe close as the Altra. As such, it wasn't quite as grippy on hard-packed snow as the others. However, it does have a full rock plate, and it's very stable. So we'd see this shoe as a great option. You can see how stiff it's stiffer. We see this shoe as a great option for eastern trails, where you have a lot of rocks and roots, and you need that extra stability. The Lone Peak is quite flexible. It too has some flexible rock protection, and its grip is just fine on snow. The lugs are a little more rounded than some of the other shoes. It's a little bit lower profile than, say, the the Speedcross or the Speedgoat or the Uragano, but it did very well on snow. And we particularly appreciated the cushion from the softer midsole. It has the softest midsole of any of the shoes. The Speedcross is the aggressive shoe in the bunch. It's a great climber. It had great grip. Its outsole is at least 6 millimeter lugs. You can see how widely spaced they are, which makes it great on any kind of soft ground. However, not quite as much fun on firmer ground. So this is the shoe for the super sloppy conditions. Finally, or next, we have the Speedgoat Mid. It has a V-Brown Mega Grip outsole. It's probably the most versatile outsole of the bunch because the lugs have many angles and profiles, yet a good distribution. So it performed very well on snow. Just about, not quite as well as the Speedcross, but still very excellent. Finally, the La Sportiva has a very versatile outsole. It was excellent on snow. It can be outfitted in the little slots you see there with La Sportiva's hobnail kits, these little teeny carbide spikes. So it's really a system for dealing with bad conditions, including ice, where those carbide spikes really come in handy. As far as specs, the heaviest shoe, and you can see why with its high gaiter and so on, is the La Sportiva. It's the only shoe here that I had a half size up in. So I had a size 9 instead of an 8.5. All the other weights are for 8.5. It came in at 11.75 ounces, 333 grams. Next, the Speedgoat, even with its high cuff, came in at 11.3 ounces, 320 grams. Then we have the Speedcross coming in at 11.2 ounces, 318 grams. And then the Lone Peak comes in at an even 11 ounces, 312 grams, so nice and fairly light. And then finally, the Hydroventure comes in at 10.6 ounces, 301 grams. It's the lightest shoe in the test. As far as the midsole stacks, obviously the Hoka is the greatest. It's quite a stiff shoe as a result, so you need some knee lift to climb, but boy is it ever stable. It has a stack height of 32 millimeters in the heel, 28 millimeters in the forefoot. Next up, if you will, in absolute stack height is the Speedcross with its blocky heel, 30 millimeter height, 20 in the front. You do notice that the difference even between the heel and the forefoot, because it's heavily or quite significantly carved out at midfoot. So this is really a great climbing shoe, very stable when it's soft. The Altra has a stack height of 0 drop, 25 millimeter forefoot and heel. We noticed the midsole is softer than the others. You could actually feel the softness on snow. It really feels great. The Hydroventure comes in at is a 3 millimeter drop shoe, 25, 22. It has a dual density midsole, so it runs very nicely on all terrain. Finally, we come back to the La Sportiva Oregon O Gtx. It has a 29 millimeter heel, 20 millimeter forefoot. Now, in terms of best uses for these shoes, definitely the Uragano is your roughest, nastiest conditions shoe with its high cuff that keeps out snow and debris, the Gore-Tex booty. Next, we have our Speedgoat. We're really impressed with this shoe. This could be a great, not only a great running shoe because the weight is decent, but also a great fast hiking shoe, fast packing shoe, snowshoeing, trekking. That high collar cuff with some substance to it really stabilizes the shoe. Our Speedcross is your rough conditions, wet conditions. Even though it isn't waterproof, it grips like crazy. The Lone Peak is actually the most popular shoe for thru hikers on the Appalachian Trail and the Pacific Crest Trail. And in this waterproof version, especially for the Appalachian Trail, it'll have some additional utility, and also because that upper is a bit stiffer, a bit more support. So we see this as a great all-around, more moderate pace because of the softer midsole, but still a great choice for trail running in wet conditions. Finally, the Hydroventure. I'm going to call this, because I'm from New Hampshire, kind of a great shoe for the White Mountains because the support is really super. You've got that Vibram Mega Grip with a great contact for the roots and the rocks, and of course the event upper. So this is also a contender as a fast packing and hiking type shoe. So thank you very much for watching our video. We have a full written review on roadtrailrun.com.